This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
I've been driving, baby, driving up and down this Michigan road.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, hi there, everyone. Welcome, and thank you, Big Lou. I'm Jim Ervin, and this is Time Signatures. Today's guest was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Worcester, Massachusetts, but it was her relocation to Chicago in 1984 that truly set her on a life course that this woman of the blues has followed ever since. A regular of Chicago's Kingston Mines ever since her arrival, some nearly 40 years ago, our guest is about to release her 16th album this Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, singer, songwriter, and slide guitarist extraordinaire Joanna Connor, welcome back to Time Signatures. How have you been?
I've been busy. I've been good.
Now, I don't know if you remember, the last time we spoke, there was a room full of blues women. You guys were preparing to perform. I believe they called it the Red Hot and Blues Women of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time we talked, but I see you've been pretty busy ever since, eh?
Yeah, I got to stay busy. I've been busy except for the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
Decades.
I will never forget when I first met you. That's been about 3 years ago in Jackson, Michigan. You and Toronzo Cannon came in and played that Saturday and tore it down.
That was a good show. I remember that.
Oh, yeah, you guys, but both of you earned a new fan in me that evening because I just absolutely love what you guys brought to the stage.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, trust me, we're going to talk about your new album in a few, but I would love to get a few stories from you along the way. However, I saw a post that you put up this morning, said that you are announcing that you signed with a fantastic European agency. Would you like to talk about that for a minute?
I would. Why not? Yeah, it was, well, during the 90s, actually in the year 1990, I first went to Europe. I went to Norway for 3 weeks. And to put it mildly, the tour was really difficult. It was not a great experience. I mean, the shows are good, but everything that went along with it was like, so I got a little worried about ever going to Europe again. And then I got a call from Thomas Roof, who had a woman named Kanika Kress, who was a Chicago guitarist, left her tour and said, I've heard about you. Would you like to come over here? And I was like, well, I don't know. Are you gonna pick me up at the airport? Are we gonna have hotel rooms? Like basic things. He's like, yeah. Well, anyway, that started like a 9-year relationship with touring and recording and management. And so I spent a decade in Europe in the 90s, like most of the time. And, worked with Luther Allison multiple times, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, Big J McNeely, Louisiana Red. Those are the people Bernard Allison, the people we were touring with, doing big festivals like Joe Cocker, just great stuff. Was on like 12 television shows. So it was very nice. And then Thomas and I kind of went our separate ways. And so I went to Europe every now and then, but not so often. And then it was a woman involved in this whole scenario who was our tour manager, driver, and I loved her, named Petra Dika.
Okay.
And we stayed in touch throughout the years, but I recently played in Germany in March, near where she's from, near Munich, and played a festival. And she came and we reunited and in real life, rather than, Facebook or whatever. And I was like, Petra, I really want to start coming back to Europe. I really miss it. And she goes, let me search, because she works for a record company over there. And so she hooked me up with it on stage productions, and they have a great roster. One of them is Danielle Nicole's on it, and yeah, who's incredible. So we just officially made it public today, and already have it like some stuff set up for next fall. So I'm really excited. So I want that door to swing wide open again.
Well, I'm really tickled. That's great news, and I'm glad that I got to see it and glad we got to talk about it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for
sure.
asking.
So, Joanna, I suppose the best place for you and I to begin is back in the beginning. Where did your journey in music start?
Well, it's crazy. I remember in Brooklyn trying to sing like Louis Armstrong And Hello Dolly. And it's funny, most people can remember maybe when they're 3 or 4, but I'm like, I have a feeling I was super young. And I looked it up, and the year it was a hit, I was 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I vividly remember that, and I can imagine how funny that must have been. But so something about music. I mean, I think all everyone loves music,
Oh,
to
yeah.
some degree, but it definitely was there in me from a very, very young age. And then my mom and her sister were big, big music fans. They both played instruments. My mom, unfortunately, she played piano. We never had one, but she loved jazz, she loved blues, she loved rock, she loved classical. So I get exposed to everything. And
Nice.
yeah, so it's blues is I heard all that from the time I was a little kid.
So,
Yeah.
as you were coming up, who were your biggest bands or your favorite artists when you were growing up?
The first album I ever remember like absolutely falling in love with was Taj Mahal, Giant Step, Old Folks at Home,
Oh,
double.
wow.
And so I think I was 6. And I would play it over and over and over and over and look at the cover, and that was the first thing I absolutely loved. That and the Monkees, you remember?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It was
yeah.
very diversified. And then, the Beatles, we'd get those all the time. My mom would bring the Beatles records, and just a diverse, and then Ry Cooder, and then I was kind of a little bit young when Led Zeppelin and all that were really like powerful, but a little older friends of mine would turn me on to like Zeppelin, the Stones. But I was also listening to old Delta blues like Robert Johnson and just a lot of stuff. But it was definitely blues and blues rock that really captured me. And
Hmm.
later on in high school, I got a little bit deeper into jazz and jazz fusion stuff. So it was kind of between those things.
Nice. Now,
Mhm.
how about the guitar? When did you start playing, and was it always the guitar that you played as you were growing up when you really got serious?
No, actually, I had a guitar. My mom bought me a Sears classical guitar, and I
Okay.
took lessons when I was 7. So I was 9, and I was like, I was like, I don't really want to do this. It was, I don't want to practice. But when I was 11, I started playing saxophone in school. So I played saxophone all through the years in school. I was in the Worcester, when I grew up in Worcester, Mass. I was good enough to be in the All City Jazz Band in high school, and then I picked up the guitar again about 14. Um, and I got an acoustic guitar, and so I was like, you know what, I should try to start playing this again. So that's how that happened.
Neat.
Yeah.
Now, as you were getting involved with the guitar, who were your biggest influences?
Oh boy, that's such a diverse bunch. For my biggest influences, well, the only lessons I really took was on acoustic and from a guy named Ron Johnson in Worcester, Mass, which was like Piedmont, Delta, hill country, like finger picking, finger style blues. And he also taught me the slide because I
Okay.
really, I'd heard the slide, but I wasn't too familiar with it. And so thanks to Ron, he gave me the technique, and he really got me on that path. So for like he turned me on to more and more stuff like Blind Willie Johnson and Memphis Minnie and Buckle White. I mean the really old school
The good
great,
stuff.
yeah, the good stuff. And then
Yeah.
like also for Slide Lowell George, of course, Ry Cooder, Mick Taylor, different people, the Allman Brothers. Um, yeah, lots of good stuff.
Nice. Now,
Yeah.
in an interview that I read from you recently, is from several years ago, you said that when you got to Chicago, you started stalking Dion Payton.
Mhm.
Talk about that for a minute, would you please?
Yeah. Well, I my main goal, but move because I had a band in Worcester, and I started doing professional gigs at 17, more as a singer and like acoustic guitar then, and then
Hmm.
switched to electric, but a rhythm player. I didn't play lead at all, and just couldn't figure it out. I don't know why. And when I moved to Chicago, I'm like, you know what? I just want to play the guitar, and I was a very good rhythm player. I mean, I really was, not to brag, but I was. I said, I want to back up somebody and learn the blues in Chicago. And I kept every night of the week I go out and see people play. And I saw Dion was with Lonnie Brooks at the time. He was Lonnie Brooks' guitarist. And he had his own band, the 43rd Street Blues Band. And I was like, this guy, he was the most emotional player. He was technically very good. His rhythm playing was off the charts. He had his own style, kind of like Carlos Santana meets Albert King.
Wow.
Yeah, like, and
Yeah.
he was and he could sing, and he was just a mesmerizing player. He would get in the zone, and that was it. And I mean, so when he left Lonnie Brooks, because I kept bothering him every night. I'd go see him with Lonnie, and Lonnie used to let me sit in, and he was kind of like, "Who is this person?" And then I guess, I'd sit in because Lonnie kind of got to know me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, open the show with Dion. You could play my guitar." Lonnie was super nice. He's the one who really got me going. People like started to notice. And one night it was like, so I got there in October. By January, Dion came out to me, and I remember I was sitting in the back of the Kingston Mines at a table, and he's like, "Joanna, I'm starting a band. You want to join the band?" I was like, "Yes, I'll play for free," like an idiot. But he didn't make me play for free. But so that's what I did. I joined Dion's band, and we used to practice 5 nights a week. I'd get on the train, go to Hyde Park, and we were the house band at the Checkerboard Lounge Friday and Saturday, which was Buddy Guy's Club on 43rd Street.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that's where I started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to flip the page here because we are going to jump into the new stuff here in just a moment. But as I understand it, you've had a lot going on. You got married in 2023, relocated to Jamaica in 24 to be with your husband, and
Mhm.
now you're splitting time between Chicago and Jamaica. How's that
Mhm.
been working out for you?
A lot of airline miles. Luckily, it's not such a far flight. It's
Yeah.
really it's like 3 hours, so it's not bad. Um, it's nice to have both, because it's like down there, it's peaceful. It's the countryside. It's warm all year round. We rescued 5 dogs, so we have 7 dogs down there. Keeps us
Wow.
busy. So yeah, it's completely different, but it's kind of gives a good balance because um being up here, and I get to be with my daughter because she's still in the area. She's coaching at a university, so right
Nice.
now I feel very really blessed to have everything in my life.
Time Signatures is pleased to welcome an endorsement from Bushman Harmonicas. Bushman Harmonicas was founded in 1996 by John Hall, and they are quickly becoming the premier harmonica manufacturer in the world. Featuring the Blues Shifter, the most versatile, useful harmonica ever made. It's not a chromatic. This model gives you back that missing key on blow 3 simply by pushing the button on the side of the harmonica. For a look at everything Bushman has to offer, please visit bushmanmusic.com and by all means let them know that Time Signatures sent you. Thank you.
I remember how incredibly difficult things were last fall when Jamaica took a direct hit from Hurricane Melissa while you were here.
Mhm.
95 dead, 12 billion in damages. And from what I understand, the costliest in Jamaica's history. But
Yeah.
thankfully, your husband and your pets all made it safely. I
Yes.
can't imagine how it must have felt. I remember seeing your post, and I was right there with you the whole time. Have you all been able to recover from that Category 5 storm?
Well, yeah, thanks to, Sherry, a woman that runs a festival, she said to me, "You should do a GoFundMe," because I would never do that. I'm like, so thankfully for that, we could rebuild everything.
Good,
Yeah, so everything is solid as a rock now.
good.
So I'm like, well, now that we're all cement and steel, we'll never have another hurricane.
From your lips to God's ears, girl.
That's right. We'll never get another one. So, but it's really unfortunate. It was such a strange thing because it was almost like a tornado.
Yeah.
You see pictures of a tornado where like one side of the street is demolished and one side of the street made it through. And kind of how it was for us is, yes, we had damage, but our little area compared to other areas was pretty okay. But
Yeah.
right down the road, a town named Savannah Lamar was completely wiped out and was like 10 miles away.
And I remember that area took a direct hit. And I'm a spotter from the National Weather Service.
Oh, wow.
And so I watched that. Every season I watch those and it's not because I'm morbid or anything else. It's just I worry. I've got family in Florida. I've got friends in Florida, and going through and watching this with you, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was supposed to land in Kingston, which is far away.
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. I'm
And
sorry.
I watched the reports because I was supposed to leave the day actually the hurricane hit, and I'm sitting there and I had a lot of work, and it was Friday night, and there was a storm chaser there, a guy who was, I forgot his name, but he was like, he got there Thursday, and then he was like, Friday, he's like, I'm gonna leave. I've never done this, but I see how bad this is, and it's heading this way, which is Montego Bay. And
Yeah.
and when I heard that, I'm like, I think I better get a plane. And sure enough, I was like one of the last planes out of there.
Wow.
That it was closed down. So yeah, pretty
Wow.
scary.
And then you went through that period where you weren't able to get through to him. But as I said, thankfully you guys came out of it okay. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. All right. The new album is called Live on 11/11. It was recorded at the legendary Fallout Shelter in Norwood, Massachusetts. My first thought was, why there? But for those not familiar with this venue, Joanna, could you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, at first I wanted to do it at Kingston Mines for like the fact of that I'd been there for so many years. And
Yeah.
the problem with Kingston Mines is, well, it's a great problem to have, but it gets completely packed. And the stage is kind of tight and small. And I was like, well, logistically, it could be, with the miking, because we don't really mic, they mic everything, but it's, whatever. And then I was talking to someone that was associated with the, Fallout Shelter, and he's like, he was going to do some video work for me. And I was talking to him about it. He's like, why don't you do it there? And I was like, because they have a studio built in, and they do 5 camera shoots there for every band that plays there, which we've done, and completely wonderful. And it's totally devoted to live music. It's, they have beer and wine, but it's all about the music, and the space is for that. It's not about selling alcohol. It's not about whatever. They really focus on it. And the man that runs it, Bill Hurley, who's like a nonprofit, he worked for Atlantic Records for like 25 years as an A&R guy and
No
manager.
kidding.
Yeah, but you never know. He's like the most unassuming, sweet person. The green room is just loaded with all the stuff for the musicians. They love the musicians. So the whole atmosphere is great, but everything was right there. I was like, yeah, it makes, even the backline. We use their backline. We use their amps.
No kidding.
We used their B3. I was like, we just got on a plane with our guitars and went there and did 2 nights. Well, one night was sound check, and the next night we just recorded 2 sets, and that was it. Nothing overdubbed, nothing. It's all what you hear. The only thing that Mark did from MC was some of our songs were like 20 minutes long. So he did a masterful editing job. And
Okay.
but other than that, everything's completely untouched and live,
It's a good album. It really is. And one of the first things that I noticed, Joanna, is that you unabashedly covered a couple of songs, and you didn't do that the way a lot of people do it.
Right.
You did it your own way, most notably Further On Up the Road. Okay. My hat's off to you because you totally reimagined that song. Talk about that for me, would you?
Well, thank you. It's funny, Joe. I did a festival recently in Iowa, and Joanna Massa was there too the next day. And I did 2 shows. One was for the city of Sioux Falls. Yeah. Or Sioux City. Sioux City? Anyway.
It's Sioux something or other, right?
Yeah, one of those. And then he came, and I didn't know he was in the audience. And he came when we talked at the festival the next day. He's like, yeah, well, how did you think of that version of Further On Up the Road? So he thought the same thing. Anyway, I used to play that. I used to do a lot of acoustic shows at the Kingston Mines. I would play the acoustic set and then play with the band.
Okay.
And I just came up with like that chord pattern and acoustic kind of way of me playing solo. And I threw the words on. Like, I was like, oh yeah, Further On Up the Road, I'll just sing that. So it was, that's how it came to be. No master plan, but yeah. And then I brought it to the band, and well, we tweaked it a bit, and yeah, that's how it happened.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I always try to pick a few favorite tracks when I do an interview like this. So here's what I've got. Further on up the road, of course, The Sky is Crying, another cover done your way. I Just Want to Make Love to You, and the Magic Sam Boogie. Overall, this album is a lot of fun, though. Your thoughts?
Well, thank you. I think those are the strongest, songs. So good choice.
Thank you.
I mean, for me, it just represented what I do. It's like the studio's great, and some people don't like live records. I don't live records, but I'm a live musician, and you know what I mean, in terms of that's really where I feel the most comfortable. And I feel like, some people are wonderful songwriters, some people are just wizards in the studio. That's what they live for, and whatever. With me, it's like living in the moment of the music. So it's like even though we're not jazz musicians per se, we think like jazz players. So it's like we have a structure, but we go off and like you'll never hear us play the song the same way.
Nice.
We live in the moment, and whatever happens happens. So it's like even later when I listened to it, I was like, oh, that was cool. I don't know, we all kind of like communicated. And because that unit, we've been playing together, that helps as well. It's like,
Yeah.
you have that communication, and that band like I called them the Wrecking Crew, even though there was a Wrecking Crew way back in the day, LA studio cast. But I was like, Dan on keyboard and J Rock and Sean, like we were a band for a while till Buddy Guy came along and took Dan. And I can't get upset. But
let me, I got to jump in here real quick.
yeah.
Dan's not your son.
No, everybody thinks I call him my son.
Well, yeah, and that's what messed me up, because I think you've like wished him a happy birthday, happy birthday to my son and congratulations to my son. So all this time I've been thinking Dan was your son.
Oh, he calls me Ma too. I'm like, you're the son I didn't have to give birth to. And we kind of look alike, so it's pretty funny, And he's
Yeah.
like, your son? I'm like, nah, yeah, it's my son. So I love Dan. He really is
That's
like
cool.
he really feels like he's my son. So he's not just one of the greatest musicians I've ever known. He is a great human, and he's a lot of fun. And we totally nerd out together on the road. We have the same sense of humor and whatever. So I missed that about him, but he was available during that time, and that's one of the
Nice.
I recorded too in November. Was like I knew Dan was like available, so he yeah, so that happened, but he's very busy with Buddy Guy right now, as you know.
Oh yeah. Ironically, my husband and I got to go see Buddy Guy during his Damn Right Farewell tour. You remember he was going to retire after that?
Yes.
He got us all, didn't he?
He did. So it's funny because I was telling my agent, I'm like, well, Dan's going to come back in the band because Buddy's not going to. It's just a way for them to book more shows. And then I asked Dan, I go, so what is Buddy saying? And Dan says, Buddy says, I ain't mother effing retiring. I'm going to go up there till I die. He goes, I would die without playing. I was like, okay, there you go.
And the thing is, I've had this discussion with other people. God bless him. If that's what he wants to do, if he wants to play till he can't do it again anymore, let him do it. Let him have a good time. He's out there entertaining and educating and having a good time with people. Why not?
Yeah.
And you're just going to have to wait for Dan. That's all there is to it.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, who knows what's going to happen for Dan, because he deserves everything. He also does gigs with Kingfish. At times fills in, he's also been playing, someone else, Mark Broussard. He's been with
Oh, yeah.
Because Dan actually moved to New Orleans, so he's starting a whole new thing. But whenever
Nice.
he goes, whenever I can play with you, I'll play with you. So, yeah. And he's also he plays like 5 instruments besides the keyboard.
Does he really? Wow. I know when we saw him playing with Buddy that he was just killing it on the keys that night. And oh man, beautiful summer evening. It was a wonderful show, and we were right up front, so we had great seats,
Good.
So, all right, Joanna, where can we send people to learn more about you, maybe buy some CDs or merch, or to book you for a gig?
Oh yeah, please come. We have a new website. Thank you to my daughter, the multi-talented Mariam. So it's JoannaConnorGuitar.com. We made a new one.
Very cool.
That has
Very
everything.
cool.
And I think with MC Records also, MC, the M like Mary C. I'm sure it's on their site, mcrecords.com. Help support the label too, But definitely come to our website. We load the shows as much as we can, and social media too. Joanna Connor Guitar on Instagram or Joanna Connor Band on Facebook.
Well, Joanna Connor, I want to thank you for taking time to be with us here today on Time Signatures. I look forward to seeing you next time you're in or around Michigan. And anytime you have an album or a tour to promote, including that stuff out there to Europe, you come on back. We always have a microphone here for you. How's that?
That's really kind of you. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. As we conclude this edition of Time Signatures, please allow me to tell you about the National Women in Blues. This is an organization that supports, edifies, mentors, and promotes female blues artists and was created in 2006 after founder and chief bottle washer, that's her title, not mine, Michelle Seidman attended a large, well-known blues festival, and of the 55 acts on 4 stages, she noted that there were only 4 female artists scheduled to perform. Fast forward 20 years later, and the National Women in Blues is making its mark with their annual Women in Blues showcase in Memphis during the International Blues Challenge. But they also sponsor other showcase events around the country and Women in Blues seminars. Please visit nationalwomeninblues.com today and make a donation in any amount to support this worthwhile cause, won't you? And as always, thank you so much for your consideration. And by the way, I've earned my honorary ovaries from the National Women in Blues, so I'm a true supporter. That wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to our guest, Joanna Connor, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
You've been listening to Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Now, for more information about cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham. You can find this episode and past episodes of Time Signatures at lccconnect.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.
Baby, I'm home.
Ooh, shuggy ducky.